Hello there, welcome to Alchemize Yourself Tarot. It is important to know your hand but not lose yourself in the game. Okay, when we're talking about relationships, knowing yourself, you are creating a lot of obsession and intrigue with a persona that you've created. This is in order to protect your worth, your value. Just don't lose yourself in hiding your true colors. Don't outsource your value into the mask you've created to protect yourself. This is about true authenticity and acting from a place of strength versus the ego. Just be aware when that mask falls, the truth can shatter, right? It can create a moment of truth, a dark night of the soul, seeing somebody's true colors. It's all fun and games until the truth is revealed. So yes, the mask, the facade, the persona is intriguing. Just don't get caught up in that. Some of you may be tempted to strengthen your game by strengthening the ego. And I think this is just kind of coming out as a warning for that. So this is about knowing your true hand, knowing yourself. That way you can act from a place of strength instead of being vulnerable to purely acting from the ego, being two-faced, not genuine. Usually people wear masks from a place of fear, not strength. And it's time to stop guessing your worth, stop outsourcing your value to, keep up with what other people expect out of you. So let's see what comes out when it comes to your true strength and where you may be having some blind spots about how maybe you have been performing instead of just living. The true strength here is the Five of Pentacles. Many of you feel lonely. You feel like you're an outsider. And what you've done is you've created intrigue. You've separated yourself. You've isolated yourselves from other people. And it kind of creates mystery. You're working with that to create mystery, but what it's really coming down to is you've been through a lot. You're very self-protective. You don't feel like people get you or understand you, but that can be a strength. You don't have to be like everybody else. You don't have to play the game like they do. So it's just important to know that what you've been through is actually a strength. Not being like everybody else, being the outsider, being the drifter in a sense is powerful for you. You've had to become really strong within yourself. It doesn't make you a weak person to stand on your own and not fear being rejected, because some of you, the mask was created as a form of protection. It wasn't that you were just being some sort of egotistical person. It's more of you had to create that in order to guard your vulnerability. What's the blind spot to this? What you may not be seeing, though, because there's definitely something dark, not that you're a dark person, but there's definitely a deeper inner truth here that you don't want people to see. You don't want to mirror that back. You don't want to have that mirrored back. You want to be seen as mysterious. And there's nothing wrong with that. I feel like this has come from a place of feeling isolated. So what is the blind spot? What is the blind spot? What you may not be aware of is traditional and spiritual wisdom. So it could be there's deeper spiritual wisdom here and divine intervention. So what you may not be seeing is that you're meant to be a guide or teacher. You're meant to share the wisdom that you've experienced. Wisdom is gained through experience. It's not just purely knowledge. There's deeper truth. And this could actually end up being what makes you really powerful and prosperous. The blind spot could be too that your spiritual development, you don't want to spiritually bypass. Living in your truth is actually going to bring deeper, more prosperous results than trying to spiritually bypass by wearing the mask. There was a time for this, but there's also a time to truly know yourself, because I think people may project or have misunderstandings about who you are. I think your mystery tends to get people to project a lot of their own darkness onto you. So it's very important to not use even spirituality as a mask to bypass the fact that you are seeking, that you do feel alone, that you do feel lacking in a sense. So you're seeking power. And there's nothing wrong with that, seeking empowerment, but the true power is just knowing your power, not trying to wear a mask to present it just to be self-protective. You know, there's always a balance with that. Many of you did gain a lot of wisdom and truth from being the outsider, but you're not meant to stay in that. Something is shifting and changing where this is going to have to get dealt with. You don't want to use that as a blind spot. There is deeper wisdom there and truth there. And the divine is coming in to test you. I mean, the Wheel of Fortune is a timeline shift. It's, you know, yes, it can be fated or prosperous, but you have to work with that energy. It's about timing, something shifting. What are you overestimating? What could you be overestimating? Ten of Swords, painful ending, feeling betrayed or backstabbed. Overestimating victimhood. Many times we build up a false sense of, you know, we create a facade or persona because we fear getting hurt. We've been betrayed and backstabbed, and the only thing to do is to protect ourselves by not being seen. So you overestimate that painful ending, that it has to define you or be, you be a victim to that painful ending. That painful ending and that loss was actually meant to spiritually evolve you. Just remember that. So there's deep level of spiritual elevation that comes from not being a victim of this anymore. Just be careful, because you don't want to, put up a front. You want to be true to yourself. So many of you are in that dilemma. You're overestimating how hard a painful ending was. That painful ending was actually a blessing in disguise, and you're not necessarily seeing it. That the blind spot is there's a blessing, a spiritual blessing or gift in the pain that you experienced. But what are you undervaluing? What are you undervaluing here? King of Cups, caring empath master. You're undervaluing the depth of your emotions. You're undervaluing the fact that you're very caring, that you're very empathic, that you're very intuitive. So yes, you have been cast out in a way for being different. People have rejected that in the past, but it's because you're highly intuitive. You pick up on energy. And some of you have become kind of like dark empaths, where you're able to reflect and project out things that people don't want to see about themselves. So you undervalue this power. Some of you actually try to hide this power. The dark empath has learned how to read signals and read behavior, but you're using that not to manipulate and control. I don't think that's what's occurring here, but I think you're using it or you're meant to use it as a powerful tool to read people, to read situations, to know when to be true or authentic, and then know when not everybody needs to know this about you. Because it is something that's very intriguing to people, but a lot of people don't know what you've been through. Many of you hide what you've actually experienced. But then there's that wound of feeling, I'm not getting that you feel like a victim anymore, but I feel like that it's going to be a repetitive cycle, that you're going to keep experiencing situations where people cast you out for living in your power, for living in your truth. But this is how you play your hand correctly. This is how you play your cards correctly. Page of Swords, truth, direct, and chat. Be truthful. Be open. Share your experience. Share what you know. Some of you have kind of become too dark and mysterious, right? But sometimes that can work against you, because then you're not allowing yourself to receive deeper levels of emotion from other people, the people that you're meant to share that with, because there's success and recognition. Six of Wands, when you can free yourself of the mask. You don't want to be stuck in the mask or the persona. Like I said, I feel like this was like a persona or ego that you created to protect yourself. And most people, this is what they do. The ego is there to protect itself, protect your sense of value and worth. That's basically what it is. It's how you operate in the world. But people do this to different levels, right? You have the extreme, you have the narcissistic extreme of over inflating the ego, but then sometimes the ego will go dark and protect itself. It'll create a mask of protection when it's been hurt. Both operate from the same. The empath does the same thing. So you end up hiding some of your gifts as a form of protection. This is interesting. Needing to be truthful and open. There's going to be a situation here where your strength is being open and communicating. But Page of Swords is not necessarily someone that reveals their whole hand. You're able to use language and words and to be direct. It's not that you overshare. That's kind of more of a anxious attachment style. Some of you went from anxious attachment style to very fearful avoidant in a way because you were hurt. Because, avoidant attachment styles can be created as protective instincts based on your experiences. So some of you went from that anxious attachment style and then you went the other extreme of becoming more fearful, avoidant. But there is this need to open up, to trust yourself. It's not that you trust all people, you're just learning to trust yourself. So let's go a little level deeper. I'm going to do some compassionate cards because I think you're needing to be radically compassionate with yourself, because I feel like there is this sense of big letdown, right? When people see you, you don't want to be seen. And this is no judgment. This is being seen is important too. Being seen in your truth, especially if you have valuable spiritual experiences that you need to share. That's a moment of really stepping into your power and strength and becoming, being able to help yourself and other people through that shared experience. Compassionate soul, longing. If you feel lacking in your life, what void are you trying to fill? I mean, that's a perfect explanation. Filling a void, trying to create a life that's not really true to you, or a mask, having to hide yourself. What void are you filling from this place of lack? That Five of Pentacles. There's a longing. There's a longing to be seen and just be yourself and have it accepted, right? There could even be that there's somebody that wants to connect with you. They want to see you. They want to love you, and they would love you. Some people find it endearing when they know your truth. It makes them love you deeper. So you're wanting to fill that void of not being seen by being rejected. And there's this longing just to be loved for who you are. Isn't that the truth? With most humans, the experience of being human, you just want to be loved for who you are. That's what you're longing for. You're not wanting to be rejected anymore for who you are. Non-traditional roles. Our upbringing plays a part in how we participate in partnerships. Does yours require an unconventional approach? Some of you are unconventional. You don't fit into a box. You've been that outsider. So you don't tend to have very traditional relationships. So that can be a challenge, and a longing is you want to have a powerful emotional bond, but you also don't necessarily want to have to be fake or wear a mask or show up lacking in being able to truly be open and honest with your partner or yourself or your friendships. Appreciation, even in challenging times. It's important for those we love to feel loved and appreciated. So this allows your partnerships and your relationships to be more appreciative, because then they can actually see you. Also, many of you dealt with not being appreciated. It was like when you did open up, it was rejected. So you're going to be able to open yourself up to real, authentic appreciation. People that see for you who you are and they like it. And also trust your intuition. The inner voice that speaks to you won't lead you astray. So you can trust your intuition. Many of you stopped trusting your intuition because of you being hurt. It made you doubt yourself. So it's okay to trust your intuition. It's also okay to test it, right? Sometimes you have to test who you can be authentic with. You have to be discerning. You don't lay it out on the table or overshare. It's just important to trust your intuition. I'm going to get one more card here, a shamanic card, and then we can wrap this up, and hopefully this will help some of you get to that point where you're not constantly torn between these extremes of having to completely fake it and completely be in this darkness of rejection. Like learning how to balance out what you're willing to share or give versus over giving or overextending yourself. You definitely have people that are very much interested in you here. Oop. Anger and psychic development. Ooh, okay. So I wasn't really picking up on anger, but someone could be kind of triggered and trying to figure you out, or vice versa. Something got triggered here. And there's times when we have righteous anger, right? We create a facade because from a place of anger and protection, like you never want that bad thing to happen again. So it's like you go the opposite extreme. A very strong and primal emotion, anger sometimes catches us by surprise. At other times it sees just under the surface, simmering a long while until it boils over, scalding anyone who is close. So some of you had a lot of repressed rage that you're needing to explore here from being betrayed and rejected. And that's what created that mask. Not being appreciated, not having that need, that human need to connect, fulfilled. Anger is based in fear. Fear of loss of control, fear of not being loved, fear of being judged, fear of not being enough. When anger enters your life, be it yours or someone else's, go beneath the surface and try to address the real fear that has triggered it. Anger doesn't go away without addressing the underlying fear. Alternatively, beware of someone's anger directed at you. So sometimes people get triggered by you, collective, especially if you are a mirror to people. So then they push you away. They don't like you. They reject you because they don't like what they're seeing in themselves. So some of you have experienced those intense connections where people are really repelled by your energy because you're psychic. You see people. And people don't like to be seen. Especially people with really grandiose personas and egos. So this could be about other people that you've dealt with, for sure. The energy and healing work you are doing now will enable you to heighten your sensitivity to the energy around you and others. This will assist you in developing discernment. Discernment is the feeling you get in your body that signals to you whether something feels right or wrong. Your sixth sense, your gut feeling. The situation you are inquiring about is asking you to use your discernment. You do not want to take on others' energy. Some of you took on other people's energy. You had things projected on you. You're very empathic. Yet you do not want to close yourself off out of fear. Envision energy flowing through you like water, right? We have the King of Cups here. Take on too much and you can sink, right? Ten of Swords. Closing yourself off offers a very different energetic experience. When you let the water energy flow as it will and neither embrace it or fight it, you are truly in the flow. Remaining at this elevated energetic vibration will allow you to tap into the realms of the psyche. Yes, some of you are going to be able to really deepen your intuition and your psychic development. And you're going to be able to trust yourself more because you're more discerning with it. It isn't just the energy being thrown at you. You're able to filter it. You're not blocking it. You're filtering it. So, collective, I will leave you there. This is interesting. And I really hope this helps you in learning to actually stand in your strength and power. Your intuition, your empathy is not a curse. It actually is a blessing. So I will leave you there. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I hope I'll see you again. Bye.